Welcome back to Northern Perspective, everyone. I'm Cypher.
And I'm Fox. As most of you know, Christian Firth of GC Strategies was summoned to committee again today. Also, as most of you know, he didn't show up. So this begs the question, now what?
Well, we've discussed on previous videos the process of summoning people to committee. First, you usually issue a cordial invitation. Now, they can say no to the cordial invitation, but what usually results in is then a summons, because there's a reason that they want you to come into committee and talk. So, based on the fact that the first time they had GC Strategies in, they had to actually summon them after cordially asking them to get them to appear. So they skipped that step and went straight to a summons this time. The problem is they still didn't show up. Now there's speculation as to why, but it doesn't really matter why at this point. So the question that all of you have is probably, okay, so what now? Well, if they want, they could actually hold them in contempt of Parliament. Now, what does that mean? Well, the committee would make a recommendation that this actually be brought back to the House of Commons, and they may issue a recommendation as to what to do. So to quote from the parliamentary procedure, although they can send for certain persons, standing committees do not have the power to punish a failure to comply with their orders in this regard. Only the House of Commons has the disciplinary powers needed to deal with this type of offense. If a witness refuses to appear or does not appear as ordered, the committee's recourse is to report the matter to the House. So this would usually be regarded as a contempt of Parliament. But what is Canada's history in dealing with contempt of Parliament?
The reluctance to invoke the House's authority to reprimand or admonish anyone found to have trampled its dignity or authority and that of its members appears to have become a near constant feature of the Canadian approach to privilege. For example, in 1976, the Standing Committee on Privileges and Elections chastised a former member, 𝘭𝘫𝘧𝘍𝘏, who claimed that many parliamentarians had obtained undue financial considerations, but did not recommend any further consideration be given to the matter after concluding that his attitude was intemperate and irresponsible. In the 1987 Perry case, where the member divulged the result of an in-camera vote, the Standing Committee on Elections, Privilege, and Procedure also did not recommend punishment, and the member's apology to the House put an end to the matter. These are just a few examples.
So that doesn't really sound like there's a lot that can be done. However, the examples that Fox cited are really for members of Parliament. And it's kind of understood that you don't really punish members of Parliament unless there's something really egregious that has happened. And in those examples, I imagine some politicians may argue that, well, although they are offenses, it's probably not egregious enough to actually warrant a punishment. But what could happen? Well, there is precedent for this, and it goes back a little while. In 1891, the Public Accounts Committee reported that André Sénécal, the government superintendent of printing, had disobeyed an order to appear before it. The House adopted a motion ordering him to appear at the bar of the House. When Mr. Sénécal failed to do so, the House ordered that he be taken into custody by the Sergeant-at-Arms. The Sergeant-at-Arms was, however, unable to find him. No other action was taken. In another example, in 1894, two witnesses, Mr. Provost and Mr. LaRose, did not appear before Committee on Privileges and Elections as ordered. The committee reported this, and the House adopted a motion ordering them to appear at the bar of the House. In response to their refusal to obey this order, the House ordered that they be taken into the custody of the Sergeant-at-Arms and brought before the bar. This was done, and the witnesses were subsequently released. So if we look at this precedent, technically what could be done is the House could order that Christian Firth be taken into custody and quite literally dragged into committee to testify. That's if he doesn't leave the country. Because if you do leave the country, then you are out of the jurisdiction of a parliamentary summons. So here's the thing. A lot of people were very disheartened by this.
As were we.
As were we. We were looking forward to doing a live stream tonight, hanging out with all of our viewers that join us on the live streams. But it was not meant to be. However, this could end up being a good thing. And the reason why I say that is because failing to appear before a parliamentary committee is a big deal, especially when you were caught lying repeatedly in your previous testimony. So if they continue to refuse to appear before parliamentary committee, this could actually put even more attention on this case than was already there. Now, as we all know, the mainstream media haven't been touching this case. But there's going to be a point where they're not going to be able to ignore this any longer. There's obviously something here if they are this scared of coming back to committee. Now, in fairness, I would be scared coming back to committee if I knew I had to face Genuis, Cousy, Brock, and Barrett. That's quite the lineup of conservatives. But still, it just demands the question to be answered. What is going on here? And how far up the chain does this go? Were they ordered by somebody in the government not to appear?
Or are they saving their own skins?
Or are they saving their own skins? Has Cameron MacDonald been communicating with them? That wouldn't be wise. Has a minister been communicating with them? That would also be equally as unwise. But something's going on here, folks. And this just magnifies the attention that this scandal absolutely needs. So we're going to continue to follow this. And if there's any other updates, we will let you know, just as we did last night. So stay tuned, everybody, because this Arrive Scan scandal is far from over.